Dietitian Becky with 310 Nutrition. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about smoothie. 7 tips to make a better smoothie. I could say mistakes, but I like to be positive. So I'm going to give you tips on how to make a better smoothie. First of all, your base matters. I feel like it's super important to choose a good base. When I say base, I mean like the liquid. You can choose whatever you want, but I think you need to realize if you're going to use a product like a nut milk, make sure it's an unsweetened nut milk. You can get a lot of extra calories and unneeded ingredients in your base. Water's fine. I like high protein milks. Depending on what your goal is for that smoothie, I use a higher protein milk for some of my kids when they need more protein, or I may use an unsweetened almond milk for me because I don't need all the extra calories and protein. I would rather spend my calories on another part of the shake. So just make sure your base is catered to who you are or who you're making your smoothie for, because it's not always about us, right? Okay, second of all, what's up with the fruit? Like, too much fruit can be a bad thing. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have fruit, because I love fruit, but we just have a tendency to think of smoothies as fruit smoothies. And I think that's how they got started, fruit smoothies. Now they're green smoothies and stuff, but too much fruit, you just don't need a lot. Fruit is a concentrated source of sweetness, right? And it packs a punch when it comes to sweetness. So I like to tell people, half of a banana, like about this much, is plenty. A little handful of berries is great. The berries are always better because they're lower glycemic index, which means they don't make your blood sugar spike so quickly. They're a great source, but it doesn't mean you need 2 huge handfuls. You want to make sure your shakes are balanced. So watch your fruit. Fruit is great. Just make sure you're getting a variety of fruits in there as well. You can also use other things to make it sweet. To give it that thickness, because a lot of people use fruit. I was trying to think. They use fruit to make it thick, like those frozen bananas. They can add thickness. So people always just go to the bananas to make it thick. Well, there's lots of other things, and I'll talk about that later, but in a second. But you can use some of the frozen vegetables, or even just ice, a little extra ice to make it thick. So just watch the fruit. Fruit is a good thing, but too much of a good thing isn't always a good thing. So number 2, or number 3, I should say, is add healthy fats and fiber. Don't forget to add fats and fiber, because if you're hungry an hour after you have your shake was not nutrient dense enough for you. That means you should have had more in that shake, most likely, because it's the fiber and the fats that keep us satisfied and full, and the protein. But usually it's protein, and people put fruit in, but they usually leave out the fat and fiber. So make sure you add fat and fiber in some shape or form, whether you're going to use avocado or MCT oil or coconut oil or coconut. I love coconut flakes. They are really good. Or chia, hemp seeds. Flax is a great source of omega-3s. I'm trying to think what else. Those are just some great added fats that you can put in your shakes. They're also going to give you texture, which is fabulous because you get a little bit of different texture, but they're going to give you some staying power. Flax also gives you the fiber, so does the chia, great sources of fiber. But make sure you're adding that fat and that fiber along with the protein in your base to give you that staying power and that fullness that you need. Okay, number 4, my pet peeve. No added sweeteners. When you're adding fruit to your smoothies, you don't need honey, you don't need maple syrup, you don't need coconut sugar. I mean, if you're using it for a dessert smoothie, sure, I wouldn't. But also our shake powders at 310 have fabulous flavor. They are bursting with flavor. So I like to remind people, you don't need any added sugar. You don't need any added skinny syrups. Don't do that. Use our fruits, use our vegetables, use other things. You don't need that extra sweetener on top of the regular smoothie sweetness. I think we just are so addicted to the sugar and the taste of sweetness that we just automatically feel we have to put more in there. You don't. And I promise you, you will get used to it. If you're going from someone that's having a really high sugar carbohydrate diet and you're trying to back down on that, the last thing you want to do is put artificial sweeteners or even natural sweeteners in your shakes like that. 5, you want to add real, fresh when you can, leafy greens. Greens powder is great. We have a fabulous greens powder here at 310 Nutrition. I love it. You can add it to the vanilla. It's a great shake. I like to use that only when I'm traveling, or I use the greens powder in my water. In your shakes, if it's going to be a meal, think of it as a meal. You want veggies, right? So try to use leafy greens. You can also use, I take a big bag of spinach and freeze the bag itself, like in the bag, like the big bag. You get at the store, I throw it in the freezer, then I get it out and I smack it up, and I grab a handful every time I'm making my smoothies. So you can use fresh greens that you freeze, or you can use frozen if you're, it's just cheaper for you that way, or easier. You can get them. Also, I've seen people take them and put them in ice cube trays. That's gonna give you that thickness you want as well. Anytime you freeze something, you're gonna get a double whammy. You're gonna get that ingredient, plus you're gonna get the thickness that most people love in those shakes. So make sure you're using leafy greens. Also, you know, one of my favorite greens to use, well, it's not leafy, but broccoli. I put frozen broccoli in my shakes. Of course, everyone uses cauliflower. Cauliflower is fabulous too. You can even put zucchini. Anything that you can freeze, you can put in your shake, because when you freeze it, it makes it a different texture and it ends up different in your shake. Now, if you're gonna put a piece of broccoli in your shake, that would be different, but frozen broccoli, because of the way it's frozen, has more water in it. So when it goes in your shake, it blends differently. So I love frozen broccoli in my shake. I love frozen cauliflower. I love rice cauliflower. I love frozen spinach. I love kale. And that kind of leads into my other point. 6, always have variety of leafy greens, vegetables, whatever you're putting in. Switch it up. If you're gonna have kale one week, try spinach the next. If you're gonna have bananas now, try blueberries tomorrow. If you're gonna have mangoes, switch it up in a couple days with something else. I know we all have our go-tos, but try to intermingle new items in your smoothies. It's super important, not just for your gut. You want to get a variety. You want to eat the rainbow. You want to make sure you're reaching out there and adding different fruits and vegetables to your smoothie, particularly in the greens. I think there's been some studies about how you should switch those greens up if you're eating kale and spinach, and I can't remember really what it was, but definitely switching out your fruits, your vegetables in your smoothies. I know we have our go-tos, but trying to switch them up just to keep a variety in your diet as well as in your body. Finally, I think the last thing is always have protein in your shakes. I know we have protein powders, which are great, but I want you to think outside the box. You can also use not just the regular protein powders, but you can use our collagen. Collagen is a great added protein booster, especially if you're wanting to really work on your hair, skin, and nails. Our collagen has both types of collagen that are necessary for your hair, skin, and nails, type 1 and 3, I believe. It's a great grass-fed bovine protein. You can add it in as a booster. Some people can add non-fat dry milk powder. I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. Also, you can add your supplements to your smoothie that way. I know it sounds funny, but I always open my capsules and I put anything I'm going to be taking that day, like my Irish sea moss, or if I'm going to be taking my BHB, I'll put it in there, or I put my vitamin C in there. Just think of your smoothie as a way to get everything you need. You don't have to take your capsules. You can open them up and pop them in there. Your turmeric, you can pop them in there. Anything you have, you can always drop in your shake, open the capsules and pop them in. So those are just my top 7 things to do to make your smoothies a little more balanced. Tips on making better smoothies, just to give you an idea of how you can switch things up, make sure you're getting what you need in your smoothies and getting the best out of 310 shakes. That's the big part of it all, actually. So I hope that helped you guys a little bit. If you have any questions, reach out, let us know. We love to hear back from you, and I'd love to hear your ways on how you make your smoothies and what your favorite ingredients are. Take care, everybody.